When I was called, I was told that you are very, very much interested in the integrity of the family. Family is my passion. I work for the family day and night. And I love the family. And I know if there is anybody here who doesn't come from family, he is not a human being. How many of us come from family? Anyone who doesn't come from family? We all come from family. Family is the most important thing in our lives. When people die, it doesn't matter how rich, it doesn't matter the achievements, it doesn't matter how much education you have. I get worried to know that when I die, my certificates cannot be used by my children. But when we are talking about the person who has gone to be with the Lord, we say he has left a wife and 3 children. We don't talk about the buses, we don't talk about the flats, we don't talk about anything else. We talk about what? Family. When you talked about the family integrity, every time a word is mentioned, and particularly when I have to work with that word, I always want to revisit, what does it mean to me? And when I was looking at the word integrity, I saw a definition that was talking about honesty. What is integrity? It's honesty. Strong morals. What are morals? What do we mean when we say that person is morally upright? When we say that person does not have morals? My understanding, morality is the quest to do good. A person who is morally healthy is one who is always seeking to do good. Righteousness, sincereness, decency, and fairness. I am a teacher, and I started as a primary school teacher. And I taught class 1, 2, 3, class 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know that pattern? I did that for 10 years. But today, by the grace of God, I am a university lecturer. By the grace of God. Incidentally, I have never been able to make myself a lecturer. I am a teacher. And I learned just last week that students encourage each other to enroll for Mrs. Gikang'a's class. They tell each other, please enroll for Mrs. Gikang'a's class. And I think the reason why they tell each other to enroll for Mrs. Gikang'a's class is because she's not able to make herself a lecturer. And what I do with my students is actually be class-centered, not me-centered. And today, I would only be able to minister to you within these 5 minutes if you allow me to be a teacher and you a student. I don't want to be a lecturer. I want to be a teacher and you. I don't have very good students. I want to be a teacher and you. You're becoming better. You see, I'm an effective teacher. Bwana asifiwe. As I teach people, I encourage people. to ask yourself, after these 10 minutes that I was given, what are you going to take home? Not your wife, not your husband, not your son, but who? Good students. Who? Me. Mr. Moriuki, I'm the teacher today. I am your teacher. Can you imagine? Bwana asifiwe. The other thing I saw is when you're talking about family integrity, we are talking about unity. Unity. What is your part on unity in your family? And I told you, if you're going to be my student, do not project whatever I'm saying here to any other person. Put the searchlight pointing to who? To yourself. Truthfulness. Mtu wa ukweli. Somebody you can never, ever, ever suspect that he told a lie. Are you that person? Are you that person? If you ask me to give you a person whom I have observed to be a person of truthfulness, it is that man who stood there. It's going to be 41 years this year, December 17, from the day he put that ring here. I have never caught him telling a lie. And that challenges me. It challenges me and asks me, what about you? I am a marriage counselor. Monday to Friday, I sit in an office in Westlands, and I counsel marriages. And every time I have a couple coming, or part of the couple coming, it is like the person in front of me talking about their spouse is an angel. There are times when I have a lady coming and talking to me about her husband, and I look at her, and in most cases, the people who come to me are Christians, born again. And I look at this sister and I say, how on earth did this so sweet sister get married to a gorilla? Because the picture she paints is of a what? A gorilla. Men also come. And the man who comes for counseling is a sober man. And probably he's even a Christian. And he sits there because kazi ya counseling. Dr. Gitau, are you here? Yes, this is the counselor we know very well. Kazi ya counselors ni kusikiliza watu, si ndio? So you listen to a man who is talking about his wife, and then you ask yourself, how could such a gentleman make a mistake of marrying a porcupine? Because he'll convince you that even the reason he goes home late is so that he can find the porcupine having done what? Slept. Mishare isi rushwe. So you wonder, in this era, there's nobody who is being forced to marry. The other day I had a seminar and I asked people, in fact it was ladies alone, and I asked them, who of you was told I love you? And then they started asking me, when? Because if you're married today, in this century, you must have been told I love you. Am I right? Am I right? Yes. How many of us have ever been told I love you? When? Is that what you want to ask? But then the question is, Were you loved by a gorilla or a porcupine? Bwana asifiwe. Integrity of the family. Solidarity. Being the same, regardless of the situation. Following moral and ethical standards or convictions. Qualities of integrity. This is for you. Take home. Qualities of integrity is responsibility. How responsible are you? Accountability. How accountable are you? I have the favor of God that I teach people. University, you teach people who are even very senior out there in companies, in government positions, and wherever. People who are doing well. And then there are those times when I get so down to the bottom of everything, and I ask them, does your husband know how much money you earn? No. He has not told me about his. Does your wife know how much you earn? Say no. No, I'm trying to use you as an example. And I have witnessed people who have been married 20 years, 25 years, and their spouse does not know how much they earn. Wanasifiwe? I thank God that I get the privilege of counseling people who are not yet married because I'm able to actually ask them, I know of 2 terms for money. My money, your money, our money. When you get married, what kind of money do you want to adopt here? What kind of money? Our money. And the people who are saying our money, if you're married, I know it is not our money. It is my money when it is mine, and when it is his, our money. I told you, apply this to you as an individual. Do not project it to anybody else. Self-awareness. Self-awareness. If you ask me, in our marriage with James Gikang'a Kamau, who is the better spouse, I'll tell you it is me. If it was not for me, this marriage would not be there. He is not a good spouse. It is me who is a good spouse. That is lack of awareness. Because I have written a book that has a very, very beautiful title, I Choose to Enjoy My Marriage. I choose to enjoy my marriage. And if you look at the table of contents, some of the chapters are very controversial. But when you get to read the material, they are not controversial because one of the chapters I have at the beginning is a good marriage starts with the divorce. A good marriage starts with the divorce. I try to clarify that with the people, and they always make mistakes. I can hear you murmuring. Because what a title. A good marriage starts with divorce. That is the awareness I'm talking about. When we were designing the kind of a person we wanted to get married to, you did plus, 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 no minus. At the bottom, you actually ended up with a perfect person. You wanted to marry a man who is not too short, not too tall, not too dark, not too light, not too talkative, not too quiet. And if you look at the one you got, Because they are not there. The ones you are looking for are not there. So what you do, the people who keep their marriages and they are able to enjoy their marriages are those people that divorce the perfect person they were dreaming about. Because the man I got, James Gikang'a Kamau, is the one in the Bible, Genesis 2 verse 18. It is not good for man to live alone. I will create him a helper suitable for him. So God found me suitable for him. That is why if he makes a mistake, I'm not going to hate him on the point of the mistake. I will look for a way I can help him overcome that kind of weakness. I have divorced the one that I thought was going to be perfect, and I took the one that God said needs what? Help. That is the awareness I'm talking about. Because of time, I want to summarize what I'm saying so that we can go to the other programs. The book of Proverbs, the one you gave me, just one verse as the theme. I know it has how many chapters? How many chapters are there in the book of Proverbs? That one. My friend, you have never read the book of Proverbs. Go and read it. It will take you only 1 month. Read one chapter today, one chapter tomorrow, one chapter. It will take you exactly 31 days. And it's all about wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom and knowledge. The Word of God talks about wisdom. And wisdom is godliness. Being wise is being able to draw from the Lord. Being knowledgeable is working on nurturing yourself. Attention to instructions. When I talk with my students, and I want to tell you, I enjoy teaching. My students are my friends. I have taught university level only for 14 years. I had taught primary school for 19 years. You see, that is better than that. Yeah. But I love teaching university students because they are good. We become friends. We are such good friends. And we have a definition for education. If I tell you to define what is education, I know you'll come with very big terms, very big jargons of what education is. But because of coming from class 1, 2, 3, I'm very simple. And that simplicity works. And I wanted to work with you because you're my students today. What is education? What is education? Are you trying to configure a definition? What is education? I know if I told Dr. Minor to give us what is education, definition, my goodness, he will give us a big definition. But your teacher today, Tabitha Gikang'a, says education is what remains when everything else is forgotten. What I'm doing here is what I can do with what I can remember. Sawa sawa. I have certificates. I have gone through so many lecturers. I have been taught. And they qualified me. But I remember very little. Education is what I can actually work with now here. So, I want you to go home with something that you can say on that day, tarehe ngapi? 19th, when we had a family service, and we had a preacher, we gave 10 minutes. This is what I went home with. The book of Proverbs says, the verse you gave me, the integrity of the upright will guide them. And you remember we defined integrity, yeah? So your integrity will guide you. If you don't have it, will it guide you? No. The dishonesty, I've used the simplest word. There are other words that are synonymous to dishonesty, but I decided to use the word dishonesty. The dishonesty of the unfaithful will destroy them. And I've added something else there, that no man can mock God. No man can mock God. The word of God says, husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church. How many of us here are not guilty for not loving your wives as you love yourself? Wives, obey your husbands as wives, obey your husbands as though you are obeying who? God. Honestly speaking, James Gikang'a, when he put this ring here, he knew, he was convinced beyond any doubt that I'm the best girl around. Yes. But today, ananiangalia hivi, sasa wewe tulitoana wapi? But if I continued to obey him as though I was obeying God, would it have changed? No. Man, if you love your wife the way you loved her, if you go to these places for coffee in Nairobi, you see two people sitting together, a man and a woman, and another couple sitting there. It doesn't matter their age. Or probably they would be looking almost the same age. You'll be able to tell who is a husband and a wife and who is a girlfriend and a boyfriend. Because in the girlfriend and boyfriend, it's like, do you want another soda? And when this lady is speaking, the man is listening and he is smiling. Look at the ones who are married on the other corner, and it's like, kwani chai iko na mawe? Tunachelewa. No wonder somebody asked, where does love go after the wedding? Where does love go after the wedding? That's your homework. Where does love go after the wedding? Can we be faithful to each other? Because if every man is faithful to his wife, and every wife is faithful to her husband, every child is faithful to their parents, and every parent is faithful to their children, can you imagine the kind of world that we would be living in? Yes. But today, even those of us that are calling themselves the body of Christ, there is a lot to be desired. Bwana asifiwe. As I finish, I know I've taken 20 minutes, I was given 10, but I believe it is time that has been given proper use. As I finish, I want to ask us, how are we as a husband and wife? How are we as a husband and wife? Hide and seek all the time. hide and seek, yeah? Usiwaamini wanaume sana. Don't trust women very much. How are we with our children? Some of us get children and they look at you as a couple and they laugh at you. And some of them have even gone to the extent of asking, watu, walioana kwa sababu ya kupendana ama kuchukiana? You, Dr. Maina, that is what your children are asking. I don't know them. You are just a victim. When we are raising our children, is it possible for our children to feel like they would want to be like daddy? Is it possible for our children to feel like they would want to be like mommy? There was a time I was sick and I had stopped working to take the treatment. And my children, because they are grown up, decided that they'll be sending mommy some airtime. One of them would send me 200 shillings. Another one would send me 500 shillings. I remember there's one of them who sent me 1,000 shillings. But guess what? There was still another one who said, please call me. How are you able to balance? How are you able to balance that? It's a challenge. God has called us here today with a good reason. And he's talking to me, and he's talking to who? To you. Thank you. I am a good teacher. Look at yourself and work on what is not working. And I want to say, children, can your parents look up at you? Let your parents be counting on you. And that will actually not be impossible. There is a time I appeared on Inoro TV, I think last week, and another man called me and asked me, Mwalimu, tell me, I've been unable to make a decision. Help me how I can make a decision. And I asked him, a decision about what? He told me, I have this job, I'm getting this money, and I have a house. There is another job, I'll be given this money, and I'll not have a house, but I'll have food. Which one should I take? And I told him, you have already made a decision where you are now. Because if you made a decision touching on the other side, that is exactly what you do. So what am I talking here? I'm talking about self-esteem. What? Self-esteem and self-esteem is how you believe in your abilities. Self-esteem is how you value yourself, the value you place on yourself. When I go to talk to students in high school, I ask them, if today you are told to hide yourself and put a price tag on yourself, we are selling men, we are selling women, how much, what is the price you would put against your name? And some students tell me so much. I tell them, what about when somebody comes and tells you, since you are annoyed with the teachers, let's burn the door Bentley. Whenever I go to talk to students, I ask them, what would you want to become? Tell me what you would want to become. A teacher. Mm-hmm. What would you want to become? A doctor? A pilot? An engineer? You didn't say neurosurgeon. I hear neurosurgeon so much. Did you hear anybody saying I would want to be a kua in Marigiti? Kua. The people who wanabeba mizigo marikiti. Did you hear of anybody who said, I want to be a watchman? Did you hear of anybody who said, I want to be a maid? Yeah. So I asked them, can you be the engineer that you want to become today? No. Why? Because I need to acquire education. Sasa, mtu akija kuambie, we ndio utaleta kibiriti. Na wewe kwa sababu uko na jaketi mzuri, we ndio utabeba mafuta ya taa. Na wewe ndio utawasha. You don't even have the value of yourself of saying, I want to become an engineer. If I burn the school, where shall I get education from? That is how you place value on yourself. So what I'm saying here is that self-esteem is the value you put on yourself. The way you know that you have abilities. And you know abilities and everything comes from who? God. I have had good encounter with God those years that I have known the Lord. And I have known that God knows everything apart from one thing. There's one thing I have discovered God doesn't know. He knows everything. And I'm saying it before him. That there's one thing God doesn't know. What is that? God doesn't know defeat. God doesn't know defeat. So if you are going to be defeated in this life, you are on your own. If you want to become somebody, God is there to make you somebody. And so, can we all depend on God?